Hey, what's up? Happy Tuesday. Oh man, I was gonna have a general, kind of show like I do every night. And then I listened to some of this press conference and the BS, and I'm like, I gotta talk about this tonight. So I went ahead and got a whole bunch of stuff together. It's just crazy. It just seems like stuff's being downplayed. It seems like the community isn't being told the truth. It seems like a lot of downplaying, and it's not cool. These are people's lives at risk. So, we're going to be covering this, might be the whole night, probably, actually. But I wanted to show, first of all, we have Kevin Kraft on the show. And we have Kevin Kraft on the show, and I was talking to him, and he's like, sorry man, I can't be on tonight, I really wish I could, with the topic and everything. And he was telling me that he's like, yeah, actually I just found out that some of the people that I do business alongside of and with actually live there, and a lot of these people use the vendor type business as their business, and so that's affected as well. And so he let me know that that somebody there that lives there is trying to raise money for the East Palestine vendors disaster relief. And so I told him I would go ahead and share this link. So if anybody would like to donate anything, please do, whether you're on live or replay. I'll keep putting this link throughout the show. And definitely check out my short highlight 17-minute video I made about this whole topic, which is ridiculous. And we kind of go through the whole chemical and the cleanup process, and then there's some little video bits of information when it comes to the chemicals and effects. So I just wanted to open that up real quick, and here is the East Palestine vendors. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it. Alright, 1 second here. Okay. Let me see here. Let me get this link real quick, and then I will put the link in the chat. So that way, if you would like to donate, you're more than welcome. So here is the link to the donation PayPal. And if you haven't watched it already, please give this a like, a share. Please sub if I earned it. Just share it with these people in the community. They might not even be thinking about looking at, that these people need to know what's up. Not only these people, but the people along the community, or I should say the communities along the Ohio River. So there's the link to the PayPal. Right here, where all these fish were showing up. Especially all of these communities around here. And I'll show you. We got different videos of the smoke. But the Ohio River here. All these communities going along this that depend on that for their drinking supply, their water source, all through here. All up around here, and then we split off. We go somewhere here, and then we go up around here. All through here, Cincinnati, down through here to Louisville. I mean, you're talking... This is just a lot of people that can be affected by this. And again, if you would like to donate, please do. Just say, hey, Evil CJ sent me. I'd appreciate it. And I also extended the invite to the person that created this, if they'd like to hop on, share us any stories, information, whatever they want to share. It's an open phone line, no matter what I'm talking about. This takes precedence over anything. Period. All right, so I wanted to share that real quick, and I'm gonna go to my Twitter here. I want to show this. This is so sad. Look at that smoke trail. They want to say that it went straight up. No, it didn't go straight up. It went off in a diagonal. They want to say it was contained to a small area. Are you going to tell me this is a small area? You're going to tell me this is a small area. Look at that. You're going to tell me this is a small area? It goes all the way back there. Small area. All the way back there. Look at this smoke. I'm just going to pause it just so you can look at the gravity of these clouds and how thick and colorful they are. And compare those to the clouds in the back. And this is, I want you to see this before we're going to listen to the press conference. Let me turn my music down. I apologize. We're gonna watch the press conference here in a minute. I just wanted to show this. This is crazy. This is not. When you hear what's being said in the press conference, it's going to make you sick. The downplaying. Okay. I wanted to show that real quick. Now I'm going to go to the Akron Beacon Journal. I don't know how any community can say that their water is not impacted when there's a difference between detectable levels and contamination. Just because something isn't detectable doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It seems like it's a we'll deal with the lawsuits later when and if they come 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. That's a bunch of BS. Thank you, Kib Kitty. Yeah, I feel a lot better. Bomb train derailed, and I have video of the train actually hitting what it hit when it derailed. We are suffering pain of the hit. Call Biden, Governor DeWine / opinion. People as far as 30 miles away have experienced symptoms of nausea, headache, tooth pain, vomiting, diarrhea, sinus congestion, and shortness of breath. Now, this is the cloud from the controlled demolition. Yeah, it's contained. You know what? I'm going to go, before I read this, I'm going to show that clip. Okay? Give me 1 second. I'm going to show that clip. Wait till you see this. Let me get the page here so I can... Oh, come on, YouTube. Don't do this. Why are you doing this? I don't know why it does this. Whoops. All right, let me try this again. Dang it, YouTube. Come on.
Oh no.
All right. This is from USA Today. Oh, my bad. This is from something else. Hold on. That's not it. Wait, was it? It says it was, though. Hold on. Why did it go back to the... Why is YouTube doing this? I don't get it. Where did that video go? Yeah, here we go. Oops, sorry. I thought I had the... What the heck? This is not it. Where's that video? There it is.
Oh no.
No, that says Tennessee.
What
is this? YouTube?
Priscilla.
Now it says East Palace. Okay. YouTube is bugging for real. I don't know what is going on. It said East Palace. Okay. Whoa.
Tonight, pretty stunning video raising a lot of questions, especially for people in East Palestine, Ohio. As you can see,
okay.
Tonight, pretty stunning video raising a lot of questions, especially for people in East Palestine, Ohio. Video raising a lot of questions, especially for people in East Palestine, Ohio. As you can see, sparks and flames underneath this Norfolk Southern was 20 miles before it derailed. The derailment.
I don't know what's going on with YouTube.
Tonight, pretty stunning video raising a lot of questions, especially for people in East Palestine, Ohio. As you can see, sparks and flames underneath this Norfolk Southern train, and this was 20 miles before it derailed. The derailment, as we all now know, sent dangerous chemicals into the air and forced thousands of people from their homes for days.
Now, when did the crew know that there was a problem?
Video of our news partners at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette was taken by a security camera at an equipment manufacturing plant in Salem, Ohio, some 20 miles from East.
Tonight, pretty stunning video raising a lot of questions, especially for people in East Palestine, Ohio. As you can see, sparks and flame underneath this Norfolk Southern train, and this was 20 miles before it derailed. The derailment, as we all now know, sent dangerous chemicals into the air and forced thousands of people from their homes for days.
Now the question is, when did the crew know that there was a problem?
This video, obtained by our news partners at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, was taken by a security camera at an equipment manufacturing plant in Salem, Ohio, some 20 miles from East Palestine. You can see what appear to be sparks or flames under one of the cars as it passes the plant. The NTSB referenced the video at a news conference earlier this week.
We have obtained two videos which show preliminary indications of mechanical issues on one of the rail car axles.
That second video came from a processing plant a mile down the track, also in Salem. In front of that plant is a hot box detector, which scans the temperature of the axles as the train passes and sounds an alert if they're overheated.
The crew did receive an alarm from a wayside defect detector shortly before the derailment, indicating a mechanical issue. Then an emergency brake application initiated.
The NTSB says there was an alert, but it is not known if it came from the hot box detector in Salem or the next one down the track 20 miles away in East Palestine, where that derailment happened. And if the alert wasn't triggered when the train passed Salem, why not? I spoke today with a retired Norfolk Southern engineer, Scott Wilcox, who lives in Avonmore.
How would that person know there was an issue?
Generally speaking, after the length of the train has passed over the detector, it will tell you there are no problems found.
The NTSB has obtained the train's data recorder and audio recordings. Those are being analyzed at an NTSB lab in Washington, D.C.
Now, the agency is also checking whether all the detectors were working properly. If the detector in Salem was working and there was no issue, Wilcox says generally it will send a message saying no problem found. The NTSB is expected to release its preliminary findings within 30 days.
Within 30 days.
Tonight, some new information on what was in those train cars that derailed in East Palestine.
Yeah,
Ohio.
please do,
The
Allison.
EPA sent a letter to Norfolk Southern listing other chemicals that were on the cars that were either on fire or breached. Royce Jones is here with what those chemicals were and what this means to the people who were exposed to them. Royce.
Yeah, our sister station WKBN is reporting that there were
We've been missing you
carcinogens
too.
on board that train, burning and leaking into the air and water. The EPA
Hey, what's up? Thank
wrote
you.
a letter to Norfolk Southern about the chemicals. All of them are on your screen right now, and according to health experts,
This is ridiculous.
one of them, specifically a chemical called ethyl hexyl.
I want to thank you for joining. Again, if anybody, and I'm going to keep sharing this link as well. If anybody would like to donate, I'll go ahead and put the link in chat again. I'm going to keep putting it in chat. This is ridiculous. And we're going to watch this press conference that was out earlier today, this afternoon. And it just, I don't know. I'm sorry, but it's just a lot of downplaying in my opinion, and I really don't appreciate it from them. Ever since this took place, Sheena, it's been a discussion on my show. You know, I was tired of things not being reported. I was tired of you know, them telling people everything was safe. I didn't appreciate it. I made a little video about it and just hoping to try it. Like, thank you, Allison. It just, I don't know. It just, they need to come out and they need to come. This is what I feel they need to do. I don't need to hear none of this BS. I want you to give me a list of every frickin' option that you had, like every frickin' option. I'm watching TikToks of dead fit. Yes. Now the train in Texas too. I heard about a possible derailment in Texas as well. No way. So that's true. You know, and the crazy thing is they don't even have to. Our government needs to like change stuff, because they didn't even have to notify anybody that these chemicals were on this train. They didn't even have to notify anybody. So when you seen them sparks coming up in the background 20 miles away in Salem, Ohio, ring-a-ding-dong, you need to call somebody, right? Hey, we got these chemicals on this train and there's sparks coming out of it. Maybe we should do something. I'm sorry. I'm just really upset tonight because they've been downplaying it. Even today, before today, I was upset. But when I hear this press conference and I'm listening to it and I'm like, hopefully they'll be honest about this. Because, you know, like these gases were chemical weapons. Part of chemical weapons. And so I'm sitting here listening to this press conference and I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. What am I listening to? And then 3,500 fish in a day and a half in that area? That 3,500, 12 species? Train in Houston, more dying fish. What? You know what I'm saying, Allison? It's ridiculous. That's why I made that short video Saturday. I'm like, you know what? I went ahead and read through vinyl chloride. We went through the cleanup process. We had a couple video clips of professionals, doctors talking about these chemicals, what happens to these chemicals after they get lit, ignited, like all of this stuff. It's ridiculous. I'm so upset tonight, and I'm sorry. The train NCA that derailed prior to the one, and it was no leakage, but no information released. What's up, Bruin? Thank you for hopping in. People are saying it's the start of the war with that. I know. I went to Akron Beacon Journal. We went to Akron Beacon Journal. Check this out. Look at this. Right up on top. Right up in the top. Water not impacted by How do you know this? Because it's not in a detectable level. Okay. They have medicine where you can't even detect freaking diseases. If you take this medicine, you're gonna come on now, people. And we're not going to hear nothing for 2 more weeks. So that gives them every reason to be hush hush. You know, and then they're telling these people that live in the community, if you don't feel that your home is safe, then we can send somebody out there to check on it for you. Guess where they're coming from? The people that are coming to check on these homes to see if they're safe are from Norfolk Southern. You think they're going to fucking be honest with you? You really think that they're going to come in there from their own company and go, you know what? This house ain't safe. The fuck they are. This is ridiculous. This got me mad. This is enough. I'm sorry. Look at the picture I just sent you. Okay. This is from Allison here. Ohio water test. Thank you for sharing this with me, Allison. Just did this today, Valentine's Day, 3 hours ago. They are telling us the water is fine. No, it is not. This is much worse than Flint, Michigan. Whoa. Please, if you have a few bucks, this goes to that community. If you want the link again, please ask me to post it in chat. I know, Bruin, it's got me mad. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, why are they not talking about this? I'm like, screw this. I need to make a little freaking video. I know I don't do much like that for the show, but I'm like, you know what? I need to. I spent hours splicing this thing together. It was like probably 18, 20 freaking splices that I made. I put my heart and soul in this little video because I'm like, this is ridiculous. And thank you, Bruin, when you asked me to look up that information. It's ridiculous. We're going to watch the press conference. We're going to get into it. I just wanted to show a little bit of stuff first because I want you guys to feel what I'm feeling before we listen to what the hell they're saying. It's ridiculous. All right, I'm going to go back to this here. People as far as 30 miles away have experienced symptoms of nausea, headache, tooth pain, vomiting, diarrhea, sinus congestion, and shortness of breath, Emily Wright writes, guest columnist, Akron Beacon Journal. Bomb train derailed. We are suffering pain of the hit. Call Biden. Call Governor DeWine. This is a picture from the controlled detonation right here, okay? Emily Wright is a resident of Columbiana and is the development director at River Valley Organizing. No matter what we look like, where we live, or how much money we earn, we all deserve to live full, healthy lives free of environmental hazards. Or at least be told the truth. But here we are again. The Appalachian Ohio River Valley is experiencing an environmental nightmare that corporations and elected officials are sweeping under the rug. From Illinois to Pennsylvania, fast-moving trains are hurling through residential neighborhoods of lower socioeconomic status multiple times a day. Trains with harmful, highly flammable substances and radioactive fracking waste are carried on a daily basis through these communities. What are vinyl chloride and isobutylene? More about the chemicals released in the Ohio train derailment. See, I didn't even hear about this one yet. Oh, I'm sure there's plenty more chemicals we're going to hear today. Nearly a decade ago, many collaborative grassroots organizations appealed to the EPA about these trains. We have seen many derailments and close calls throughout the years. In fact, these groups warned the federal government that a disaster was waiting to happen, and it did. Thank you, Allison, for sending that. I appreciate that. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I'm sorry I didn't say that when I got in here tonight. Now, as we predicted would inevitably happen, a Norfolk Southern bomb train carrying vinyl chloride and other hazardous materials derailed on February 3rd in East Palestine. Ohioans are suffering up to 30 miles away. That's minimum. Come on, minimum. When in the beginning of the show, I went through the Google frickin' map of where the Ohio River goes. Come on now. I live a few short miles from the derailment site. I also work with a nonprofit grassroots community organizing group, River Valley Organizing. We have been on the front line around environmental community hazards in the Appalachian Ohio River Valley for several years. I can tell you, in this instance, people as far as 30 miles away have experienced symptoms of nausea, headache, tooth pain, vomiting, diarrhea, sinus congestion, and shortness of breath. People well outside the evacuation zone have left their homes because the waterways are polluted with chemical smells and dead fish. But it was contained to a small area. Some people have had to seek medical attention for their breathing. I myself am still wheezing as I write this. Poor guy. Poor female, I'm sorry. It is time to put people over politics. Our lives and future depend on it. Emily Wright. Heroic first responders have pictured without any hazmat PPE. See that? Heroic first responders have been pictured without any hazmat PPE. And you know why that is? Because nobody needs to be notified that these chemicals are on that train. Does that make sense? There are dead foxes, livestock, chickens, dogs, fish, and other wildlife all over Columbiana, Mahoning, and Trumbull counties in Ohio and Beaver County in Pennsylvania. You know, they were just talking about fish today, and while I was at work, and I was like, oh, that's just in the river. And she was like, what do you mean? And I said, Oh, what happens when your cat or your dog hurt their paw? Most of the time they go and hide. So I'm thinking animals like deer, foxes, they're not going to be dying on the frickin' river. They're going to go hurt. They're going to go crawl somewhere. They're going to go hide. They're going to seek shelter. You're not going to find. This is just what they found. You got to think deeper. The poorly named control burn of cancer causing vinyl chloride swept 4 counties in 2 states as high winds came through the area. Media and elected officials demanded we shelter in place while also telling us we had nothing to worry about it. Ain't that nuts? Yeah, you have nothing to worry about. And then the next day, dead fish floating upside down. Let me get back to chat real quick. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying, man. You're gonna mix the fact that there's a shortage on the chemical to to purify our water. Then this happens. I started after this thing, they did this control burn. I started telling everybody I was telling everybody at work, I was like, you better quit drinking tap water. They're like, you're fucking crazy. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. You better start getting a Brita filter. Shit, that's probably ain't even gonna do it. Go to your Walmart and get some, Yes, happy Valentine's Day. Exactly, Allison. When you got the eye right here, you can close these ones, but this one never does. It'd be nice to know, man, because I'm wondering that myself. I'm like, when I seen the way that because they're like, it went straight up, I was like, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. It went like this. It went like that. I'm going to show you the Twitter video. You guys that hopped in late, you might not have seen it. They have no problem. Just wait until we see this press conference. I want you guys to see this stuff. It's upsetting me. It's been upsetting me. The fact that it's getting downplayed, the fact that it's getting dismissed, the fact that it's not getting reported, the fact that it's not being the truth is not being told to this community, the communities that are affected in the close area, the communities that are affected along this river, the communities. How many of these communities use that Ohio River as a source of water? I mean, come on. How many people fish? The sourcing of water. The wells. That ain't even connected to the Ohio River. Wells that are off on their own. I mean, this is crazy. No. So why in the world are these chemicals not in? I mean, come on, this is 2023. You're going to tell me that we can't make containers that a fucking truck can hit the son of a bitch and then nothing's going to happen to it? I mean, seriously, you're telling me we can't make a container that a truck can fucking plow into it and it's not going to fucking do nothing? But you're also going to tell me that we don't even have to notify people that these chemicals are on the train because of some fucking loophole? It's just... We'll listen to the press conference. We'll get to it. I know a lot of people haven't been really following up on this, and this is just something that This is crazy. You know, you got people there that are debating whether they can afford another night in a hotel or if they and their children have to go back to their contaminated houses. But you know what? They'll have somebody come out and check to see if it's okay. But it's going to be from Norfolk Southern. They're going to be honest with you. People are being let back in their homes with zero soil or surface testing completed. Those same people must now clean their homes or dispose of contaminated items with no assistance offered. This is the Akron Beacon Journal again. The National Guard came and went. Kids are expected to go back to school this week. Reporters are being silenced and even arrested for being too loud at press conferences. What's up, Dre? Right. And we have emergency first responders that have also some sort of chemical that can prevent these things from happening too. Like a foam. Like a foam. Right? Keep it into a small area. Don't pour it out into a ditch and light the motherfucker on fire and think everybody's safe. And then the next day, come on. Like, you can't think that we're this gullible. And these are people's lives that you're just juggling in front of us like, hey, look at the balls. Oh, no. We're not that fucking stupid. The National Guard came and went. Kids are expected to go back to school this week. Reporters are being silenced and even arrested for being too loud at press conferences. Every news report and conference has indicated the same thing. There are zero toxins in the air and water, not the normal lingo of acceptable levels for human consumption. This has been proven 100% false through photographic and testing evidence. There was somebody at the press conference today, and I'm not even going to lie to you. There was somebody at the press conference today that said that the air didn't seem any different than before the derailment. Didn't seem any different. Now we have a governor that will not ask our president to declare this a federal emergency. The fact that these people that live in their own homes have to dispose of this stuff on their own without any assistance. So you're going to tell me that they're going to have to go to Google like we did to find out what the vinyl fluoride cleanup is? Which is right here. You're going to tell me that these people have to go to this fucking website to find out how to clean up this chemical. Just this chemical. There's a whole bunch of other chemicals. So they got to go to Google like we did to find out what the cleanup method is. This is ridiculous. I'm by the Ohio River and I don't even feel comfortable, bro. I don't even feel comfortable. This is why it makes me so upset. Number one, because I could be affected. Okay? Number two, because I'm sitting here watching the people that were directly affected get treated like this. And it's like, yo, this is enough. He pretends to have it handled while I receive reports of 3-year-olds in respiratory distress from asthmatic flares. He is playing politics with our lives from his comfy governor's mansion 100 miles away as residents of East Palestine and neighboring communities look on in horror. Again, this is Emily Wright of the Akron Beacon Journal. It is the time for our leaders to do the right thing. Quit lying, Governor Mike DeWine, and call President Joe Biden. Tell him the short and long-term health implications for our region. Tell him that vinyl chloride exposure leads to several types of cancer. We went through all of that information. We went through the cleanup. We went through all that information in this short video here. Please share it. Tell him people are sick and animals are dying. Tell him to declare a federal emergency so we can get the help that we need. It is time to put people over politics. Our lives and future depend on it. Emily Wright is a resident of Columbiana and is the development director at River Valley Organizing. I'm sorry, this is on the Akron Beacon Journal. She does not work for the Akron Beacon Journal. I'm going to show you guys this real quick. I know I played it at the beginning. but I want to show you guys this again. And then we're going to check out this press conference, okay? And I want to say thank you, everybody, for hopping in, and thanks for hanging out. And then you see that. You see the clouds behind there, and you see these clouds. That is, look at how dark it is up inside that cloud. That's how thick. That's how thick that is. And look at how far this goes. It's no wonder people as far as 30 miles are feeling all of those effects, because look at this smoke. Look at this smoke. Look at this smoke. As far as the frickin' eye can see. There it is again. Controlled. Look at how far the smoke goes. As far as the eye can see. Okay, I'm going to go back to this other video we were playing. These are some of the other chemicals now that we didn't know about before. Excuse me. But we do now. And I'm going to take a screenshot of these real quick. Because we need to look those up later on.
So acid is especially concerning. They say that on contact, it can cause burning and irritation in the skin and eyes. Breathing and irritate the throat, cause coughing and shortness of breath. Another, isobutylene, is also known to cause dizziness and drowsiness when inhaled.
I was kind of surprised that when they quickly told the people that can go back home, but instead of like their homes tested, they can have them tested. I would have far rather they did all the testing.
It is possible that some of these chemicals could still be present in people's homes and on their belongings as well. It's recommended that anybody in the East Palestine area should get a health checkup and make sure that your results are documented just in case you need receipts in the future as the situation progresses. Back to you.
This is ridiculous. Look at that cloud. My Lord. I do have some drone footage that we'll show later on after the press conference. So I'm, in case you have to hop off early, just letting you know I will have the drone footage after the press conference. The press conference is a little lengthy. It's about 50 minutes without the beginning and the end. I just look at this thing. That is, I don't. Right, Bruin? I mean, hell, we already heard a couple days ago what happens to it when it gets ignited. It changes. Phosgene. I just don't understand. Okay, let me get to that video. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm going on rants tonight, or a rant. I'm just not hearing this. Oh, I do want to play this real quick. Kitty sent this to me right before the show. I do want to play this real quick, and then we will get into the press conference. Yeah, it's not good, Dre. And they're just downplaying this shit. Just wait till the press conference. It is. It's probably going to be the whole show of this. Oh, come on,
and
YouTube.
I've just been struggling because, from a legal perspective, what is happening out there to even get somebody. Come to me from the community.
Hopefully it plays right.
And I have just been feeling because from a legal perspective,
It's
what
not
is
doing
happening
it.
out there to even get out there to find out what's going on. And then watching this with the reporter getting arrested. Now I'm really thinking, what the hell's happening out there? I think the most important thing these community members can do, and they're
Come on, work,
reaching out
please.
to me, and they're afraid, and they're worried. They're making the observations of the fish kills. I need them to start protecting themselves. I don't think we're going to get a direct answer right now about the dangers or from the EPA or even the laws going to understand what's happening out there. I need this community to act for themselves. If you feel unsafe, then please get out of harm's way. If you feel unsafe, stay shelter in place. If you're questioning that it's all clear and you think it isn't, listen to that voice. Document what's happening to your own health. Document or videotape the fish that are dying, or as you move about in your community. I think it will be critical. You will have to protect and defend yourself at this moment, because I don't think all the answers are there. They will be, but they're not. So for in the moment, please use your own instincts. Keep yourself safe. Ask questions. If you're uncertain, get to safety. And if you see something, say something and document it.
Have you been able to get a lawyer to get out there on the ground?
I haven't been able to get, at this point in time, any law firms that I've reached out to, it's a pass.
Why is that?
You know what? I don't know why. It could be a whole host of reasons. My guess would be because there's no affirmative. We know it's vinyl chloride. What the levels are, the EPA is saying everything is safe, so they may just be following the safe thing to do. After 30 years of what I've been through and what this community's going through, they know. Come on, it's vinyl chloride. It's in the air. The fish are dying. Really? To give
Right.
you comfort that maybe I should be in this area? Probably not.
No. No. Okay. I do want to show you guys. I do have, and this can either be for later tonight or another show. I do have the NTSB media brief about the derailment that took place. That's 14 minutes long. And then I also have where the Ohio officials announced the controlled release of toxic chemicals after the train derailment. And that's the whole press conference for that. That was the one that took place 8 days ago when they decided to do the controlled burn and release. But we're not going to get into that one tonight. I do also have videos of the fire chief getting frustrated with the questions about the derailment. You got to think this is a small community, only 4,700 and some people. So you probably have to imagine that a lot of them are volunteer firefighters. Okay. You also have to understand where they're coming from. These people were put in harm's way because they had no idea that they were even dealing with a chemical or should be wearing the proper equipment, as far as I know, because there's no reason that anybody needed to know that those chemicals were on there. Nobody needed to be warned. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go into this press conference. This is CBS News. And I apologize if the video kind of goes back and forth like it's been doing the last week or so. But at least we got the audio. I will turn the music down in the background when we go to watch this. If you do send me a link or anything, please type it in the chat. I'm just going to kind of go back, sit back, listen, get my notebook out, get my pen out, and I'm going to be making a lot of notes as we sit and listen to this together. So I appreciate it. And hey, if you can grab a notebook and a pen too, please do, and we'll talk about it on another show. This isn't going to be the last one that I do this show on. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to hear anything for 2 more weeks unless it comes from the public, like pictures from Allison. Again, I want to say thank you very much. This is from somebody in Ohio where they were told their water levels were safe, and obviously they're not. This person says this is much worse than Flint, Michigan. See? 10. And look at this. Combination. This is the only way we're going to get updated information, because as we listen to this press conference, you'll see it's going to be about 2 weeks before they even really have to come out and say anything. And they don't even have to say anything then. That's just when they're supposed to, quote, get their report back. So I want to thank you again, Allison. Thank you, everybody, for your links here real quick. And if you have a notebook and pen, please grab it and let's take some notes together, because we'll be going into it in another show here coming up in a couple of days.
You guys can get along the side there. Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're holding this press conference today really to bring people up to date. I know there's still questions about what is going on in East Palestine throughout this to continue to inform the public, everyone, but most particularly the people who are directly affected. So today I brought many members of our team together to talk about the current monitoring that is that's underway, and to really answer any outstanding questions that may still be out there. Today I have experts from the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, the Ohio Department of Health, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, the Ohio Department of Agriculture, Ohio Department of Public Safety, Ohio Emergency Management Agency, the Ohio Department of Transportation, and the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio. They're all in the room with me today. Let's go back to February 3rd, 8:55 p.m. when the train wreck occurred. While traveling through East Palestine on Friday night, February 3rd, in Norfolk Southern train derailed, causing a massive fire. Around 50 railroad cars were impacted by the crash, including 10 that were hauling hazardous materials. In addition to the fire, there was also serious environmental concerns. U.S. EPA and the Ohio EPA worked to slow the flow of contaminated water, while firefighters worked to extinguish the blaze. By that Sunday, 2 days later, concerns began to arise in regard to the temperature in one of the cars. I was on a conference call that night around 7:30 when that information was first given to me. Based on the conversations that I was hearing and information, it was clear that more assistance was needed in East Palestine, and so I activated the Ohio National Guard to go there, which they did very, very quickly. I was also informed on that call about the car where the temperature was described as very volatile, and at that moment was in fact rising. The fear was that this car might explode, sending deadly shrapnel in all directions. The next morning, I traveled to East Palestine and met with those on the ground, those who had been working, those who represented the railroad, as well as the federal government. It was clear at that point that we were faced with two bad options. One option was to do nothing and wait for the car to explode. I had a discussion with the representatives of the railroad, extended discussion. I brought Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro in that through my cell phone, and we went back and forth for a couple hours, trying to just weigh the risk, one versus the other. The risk of the car exploding was described to me as high probability that it could explode. And when I pressed everyone to give me the information about and also give Governor Shapiro the information, she was on the cell phone listening and asking questions, it came back that the concern was that this would be what was described as a catastrophic explosion of the car. which would result in shrapnel going out up to close to a mile. We also looked at what the danger was from a controlled release, which is what the railroad felt should be done. Again, Governor Shapiro and I spent considerable time, up to about 2 hours, I recall, asking a lot of questions about how that would take place. We had the benefit of the Ohio National Guard that had done a modeling exercise. They did that in conjunction with the U.S. Defense Department, who gave them some additional information and help in regard to the modeling. The modeling was then produced into a map I believe that we showed everyone that day when we had our press conference. There was a red area that they described as the likelihood of death within that red area would be very high. There's an area outside that, the yellow area, where they also described it would be very dangerous to be there, but not quite as dangerous as it was within the red area. We then made the decision to go ahead with the second option, which was the controlled release. As that was being prepared to be done, we sent back law enforcement into those zones, the red zone and the yellow zone, for the third time to literally knock on doors. And they described how they did it to me. They did it in very loud, did everything they could do to get, if there's anyone left in that house, to get their attention to come out. It was the third time that those houses, I believe, had been contacted. The individuals in those houses had been contacted. The controlled release did it in fact occur. It was, to my understanding, delayed a little bit. There was actually, when we at 3 o'clock, release was supposed to be at 3:30. We wanted to get everybody out of there. We had members of the Guard and the patrol and others who had the area cordoned off. We told them to leave there at 3 o'clock. Unfortunately, there's a couple cars that came in, and they had to go get them out of that impacted area, or what would be an impacted area. So the release occurred, as I recall, about 4:15, 4:20, and we were monitoring the air outside that area. And the air continued to be good. Fast forward to the time when we opened it back up a couple of days later. We had sent in members of the Ohio National Guard and had their protective suits on to measure the air. And no one went back within that area or was allowed back in that area until they could come back and tell us that the monitoring was consistently good. In fact, the monitoring showed that the air was basically what it was prior to the actual train crash, or what we would have expected it to be at that time. People were then
okay. 1 second here.
Let back in.
I want to hear that again.
And no one went back within that area or was allowed back in that area until they could come back and tell us that the monitoring was consistently good. In fact, the monitoring showed that the air was basically what it was prior to the actual train crash, or what we would have expected it to be.
What about the water, the land, the wells?
Let back
the wells.
Back in. Our environmental teams remain in East Palestine, where they're working directly with the railroad and others to ensure that the site is thoroughly cleaned up with no shortcuts. This morning, I called Alan Shaw, CEO of Norfolk Southern. He and I have had contact numerous times since the crash. I discussed with him many of the concerns that we're hearing from residents of East Palestine. I asked him directly if he would personally guarantee that the railroad would stay there until absolutely everything was cleaned up. He gave me his word and his commitment that the railroad would do that. They would not leave until that was done. I might also mention that I received a call from President Biden earlier last week. He told me that he wanted just to assure me that anything I needed from the federal government, they would supply. And told me to call him personally if there was anything that we needed at any point.
Yeah, how about people that can help out the residents that live in the community figure out what to do and how to clean up? Give them some assistance for free. These people are already scared enough. And now they're scared to pick up a picture of their family member without. This is ridiculous.
I told the president that I appreciated the work that we'd received so far from the U.S. EPA. I also told him that I appreciated the help that the Defense Department gave the Ohio National Guard in regard to the modeling, that it was very, very helpful, and I expressed my gratitude for that. Let me also say that
yeah, Brew, and they'll even send somebody out to your home to double check to make sure it's okay. Norfolk Southern will. That's so generous.
J.D. Vance and Congressman Johnson have been in touch with me. In fact, I just talked to both of them a moment ago again. They've expressed their interest in doing anything that needs to be done. I know Senator Brown has as well. And let me just now talk about something that I did learn today, which I think does impact Congress. I learned today from the PUCO, Ohio's PUCO, that this train was not considered high hazardous material train. Let me repeat this.
Yeah, listen to this, everybody.
It was not considered a high hazardous material train. Therefore, the railroad was not required to notify anyone here in Ohio about what was in the rail cars coming through our state. I would think that the members of Congress, I would ask them to take a look at this. Even though some rail cars did have hazardous material on board, and while most of them did not, that's why it was not categorized as a high hazardous material train. Frankly, if this is true, and I'm told it's true, this is absurd. And we need to look at this, and Congress needs to take a look at how these things are handled. We should know when we have trains carrying hazardous material that are going through the state of Ohio. So I asked Congress to take a look at this and again see what they can find out, and if those facts as I related them are true, to take the appropriate action. So let me now get down to sharing the information that we have. Let me just state again, we will continue to do this. We're not leaving either. We're not leaving at East Palestine until everything is done. And we have, as I indicated, a number of agencies from the state of Ohio that have been involved, and they will continue to be involved as we move forward. Let me now ask Mary Mertz, the director of the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, to come up. I think Steve Gray was going to come up as well and discuss the question about the dead fish. I know that people have been seeing the dead fish. They want to know what is going on, whether that is continuing to be a problem. And I've asked the director of the Ohio Department of Natural Resources to talk about that and talk about some of the streams that are in fact impacted. From there, we will go, and I will introduce her in a moment, but a representative from the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency who will also talk about the water quality, and we'll move from there to the water and to the air. Director Mertz.
So I wanted to start off to give you just a little bit of context about the waterways we're talking about, where they are and how the water flowed. So I think Steve's going to help me out here. So the initial water impact was at Sulphur Run. Are we able to, can you find that on there, or do we need to use the map in your hand?
So it'll be up here.
So so above this map, but we have a smaller map here. The initial impact was at Sulphur Run, leading down into Leslie Run to Bull Creek, and then a portion of the North Fork of Beaver Creek.
Right.
So we essentially, so for our purposes, we looked at 4 different waterways over a space of about 7.5 miles and what the environmental impacts were on those streams and tributaries.
I mentioned directly what's beyond that as we move towards the Ohio River.
So the North Fork of Beaver Creek leads into Beaver Creek, which I'm lost. I mean, we eventually get down there.
To the Ohio River. So
yeah, Beaver Creek does go directly into the Ohio River. Yeah, go for it.
So the North Fork of Beaver Creek goes into the main stem of Little Beaver Creek, which is a state scenic river, and then that flows into the Ohio River.
So that's the essential geography we were looking at for this. And, the Department of Natural Resources, part of our mission is to preserve and improve Ohio's biodiversity. So our concern in this case was what was happening with the aquatic wildlife. And what we have discovered through the testing and sampling that's been done is that very early on, we have estimated based on our sampling and modeling about 3,500 dead fish across that space, across those streams, tributaries, waterways, 12 different species. The good news is that none of those species are threatened or endangered, but that is still a loss of wildlife, so of concern. Especially when we reach the Beaver Creek, this state wild and scenic river where we are.
But that's just fish. They don't know about the other animals. What if there's some other endangered species that got affected by this? They don't know yet.
Especially protective of what we have there. So some of the species, creek chub, mottled sculpin, stone roller, I think we have some pictures somewhere of what those are, but 12 different species, none threatened or endangered, but still a loss of life all the same. The one species we will be looking for, we have no evidence yet that any have died, but this is really an area of focus for hellbenders, which are federal and state endangered. And so we will be doing some monitoring in the months to come to see if any of them did die in the initial release into the waterways. So good news, there doesn't appear to be any increase in the fish or aquatic creatures killed since the first couple days of the derailment. So wildlife officers have been there every day on the scene, working with contractors who are in the water, doing the net sampling, making the estimates, and we will continue to monitor and watch what's going on and eventually hold those responsible accountable for the loss of wildlife in the area. We don't have any evidence of non-aquatic species suffering from the derailment. Haven't had any concerns about that, not only here, but we also communicate with the Pennsylvania Game Commission as well.
Really?
And they haven't heard about that either.
They will.
That is essentially where we are with the Department of Natural Resources. And I think, Governor.
Director, thank you. Thank you very much. She'll be available for questions. Let me invite now Tiffany Cadillac from the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency to come to the microphone. We have on the screen from East Palestine, Kurt Kohler. Kurt, you may remember at our previous 2 press conferences was available and discussed what the situation was. We're asking them to tell us the very latest measurements coming from the site.
Thank you, Governor. Hello, I'm Tiffany Cadillac. I'm the Chief of the Division of Surface Water at Ohio EPA. And speaking of the derailment on February 3rd, we speak that it occurred at the location of Sulphur Run, and Norfolk and Southern are actively aerating Sulphur Run and have containment within the 1.3 miles that Sulphur Run leads into Leslie Run. Sulphur Run remains contaminated, but we're confident that it is contained. Data from February 4th, the day after the train derailment, down gradient on Leslie Run and Norfolk Little Beaver Creek showed very low detection levels of contaminants and mostly from fire residual chemicals. Data from February 10th, more recently, showed low levels of only 2 contaminants, butyl acrylate and ethyl hexyl acrylate. Both are volatile organic chemicals in Leslie Run, the one that's directly below Sulphur Run. The butyl acrylate dissipates to non-detectable levels once it gets to the North Fork of the Little Beaver Creek. And the other one, ethyl hexyl acrylate, dissipates to non-detectable levels once we get to Little Beaver Creek. We have not detected any vinyl chloride in any of the down gradient waterways. Both the February 4th and the February 10th data are available now on Ohio EPA's website that's titled East Palestine's Train Derailment. The spill did flow to the Ohio River during that initial slug, but the Ohio River is very large, and it's a water body that's able to dilute the pollutants pretty quickly. Ohio EPA and other state agencies have been working with the Ohio River Valley Water Sanitation Commission, some may know as ORSANCO, to track the contaminant plume in real time. It's moving at about a mile an hour. ORSANCO's tracking allows for potential closing of drinking water intakes to allow the majority of the chemicals to pass. This strategy, along with drinking water treatment like oxidation and advanced treatment like activated carbon, are both effective at addressing these contaminants and helps ensure the safety of the drinking water supplies. So we're pretty confident that these low levels are not getting passed on to the customers. Would you like me to pass it to Kurt?
Let me ask you one question.
Yes.
You might explain. You talked about the containment. What steps were taken to contain it in that initial spill? Mary?
Yes, and I think that's why we have. I think Kurt
Okay,
can.
Kurt, do that.
Yes.
Okay, good. Kurt. Yeah, you want to answer that, Kurt, and then you can kind of give us a report from East Palestine.
Okay, I'll be glad to. Thank you, sir. We're, again, you're hearing the results. You heard us speak about it before. At the beginning of the spill, we were on a defensive posture, as the governor kind of talked about. It was safety first. You had to attack from the outside in. Since conditions have changed and removal of the threats from the rail cars, the cleanup in the emergency phase has been on the offensive. Not only with multiple containment points and treat in Sulphur Run, working with Norfolk Southern and our other partners, kind of as a management plan for this cleanup, and then again, the emergency phase, where we targeted 3 sites, or we used 3 different names for it. We have the wreckage area where the cars are still being staged. We have Pleasant Road, where we do know we have gross contamination present on the ground and still in the 2 ditches. And we have the waterways. The waterways have been our targeted and our concern from the onset of this. We did get an initial dirt dumped into the creek to stop the flow, or the booms that will contain the booms to stop the floating product. From that point in time, we did use very tried and true methods, but we've been able to build those up. Aeration and sparging units that increase the efficiency of the breaking down of the dissolved phase of the contaminants present. We do. Again, Sulphur Run, we have it contained. It is our control area. We're confident that the materials getting out of there and extending down the Leslie Run are good. There is residual material in Leslie Run. That's some of the explanation why there is still some of the detections. We do have aeration in Leslie Run. Back into the site, like at Pleasant Road, where the butyl car did release material along with the vinyl chloride burn areas, there has been active excavation of those grossly contaminated soils. two ditches that run parallel to the tracks, North Ditch and South Ditch, which both ran into Salford Line, have been blocked off. The water that naturally flows in there from the wetland is being pumped around so we don't augment any contamination and continue to push high-level contaminants downstream. And then excavation of that material has already begun. The center line of the track where butyl acrylate was puddled along with vinyl chloride residues is actively being excavated. It is a constant source reduction, again, with the target of moving over into the remediation phase. We're trying to get rid of, again, the high-level gross contamination. Ohio EPA's emergency response, along with other support from our multiple divisions, have boots on the ground all day, every day since the onset of this incident. We're confident that we'll get it to a stage where it's safe to transfer over for remediation.
Kurt, thank you very much. Let me ask you one question, and then if you'll stay around, because the media may have some questions for you when we finish. How far along is this removal of dirt? My understanding is they're going down 1 to 3 feet down into the ground.
Thank you for putting that up there, Jay. I was saying that in the beginning that this is a chemical weapon that was put in the atmosphere. And I don't think people really took me seriously, but it's true. Like I was looking this stuff up, and I was even watching documentaries last night about certain things, so I could learn more, when it comes to history and different conflicts and things like that. And yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, if we don't get to all of it in tonight's show, which we probably won't, I'm definitely going to do another show on it in a few days. And the spy balloon stuff, I need to cover that as well. But I just wanted to give everything that I could to this one, and if we don't catch it all, we'll definitely be having another episode that we focus on this again, because this isn't going to be the last show. We got 2 more weeks to discuss this stuff, to see more pictures, to see more reports, to see more stuff coming in from real people not being fed certain things or not hearing anything. Trust me, we'll have plenty to talk about. So if we don't get to your links tonight, I promise you we will be having more shows specifically dedicated on a night where it comes to these. This isn't over. We're not done talking. We're not done discussing. We're not done looking into. We're not done with any of this. And if they're not going to do this stuff, we will. If they're not going to care about these people, we will. And we're doing it now.
But how far along are they in regard to that?
Current volumes, we have about almost 1 million gallons of water collected and stored in various storage containers on site from a liquid waste standpoint. And then from the solids, if I remember, there's almost 500 cubic yards of vinyl chloride impacted material. That center line of track is, again, emergency response. We do there was awareness that there was material on the surface and extending down. The goal of this was to get rid of that highly contaminated, potentially mobile material before we had rain events or something like that could drive it further down. This initial phase, some of these pits, sir, are now 700 feet long and about 8 foot deep in some areas. And this main excavation going now there's some stability issues. So I think they're reporting about 4 to ground surface down to a hard packed clay. That is going all the way from Pleasant Road into where the main derailment occurred, so in the range of 1,000 foot or more.
Do you have any idea what percentage of the work is done yet, roughly?
For the emergency response phase, it's something we're working. We still have our action items, the ditches, the center line. Again, the waterway is primary. It's moving along. I would hope next week a lot of the emergency response phases, high-end daily activities should start to drop off.
Kurt, thank you. Stay on there in case we get questions. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate the work you're doing. Let me now introduce Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff, the director of the Ohio Department of Health. He's going to talk about exactly where we are in regard to the air, the water, everything from the public health point of view. And Dr. Vanderhoff, one of the things I would ask you to address is the odor. I know people are still seeing an odor, and I wonder if you can, comment about that and what the significance of that is.
Well, thank you, Governor. Let's begin by just talking about the chemicals. And the fact is that for the most part, most of the chemicals that we're worried about and that we're talking about fall into a category known as volatile organic chemicals. And you heard that mentioned or compounds. Now, volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, it's important for us to recognize, are actually a part of our everyday life. So if you go this afternoon on your way home to pump gas in your car, you're being exposed to volatile organic compounds. You are. If you are burning wood or natural gas in your home, you're being exposed. And certainly, if you are smoking or you live with someone who smokes, you're being exposed to actually fairly substantial levels of volatile organic compounds. Now, the good news is that most people can be around these volatile organic compounds at low levels without really feeling health effects. However, at higher levels, especially over a longer period of time, then we can have longer-term health effects. And that's why there is the concern around these compounds. So the goal from a health point of view in a situation like this is really to make every effort we can to reduce the risk that we're going to take those volatile organic compounds into our bodies. And there are really two paths for that to happen. One is what we breathe, and the other is what we consume. So the effort, as you heard it described, really began at the start with trying to make sure that we had a safe environment as it related to the air that people were breathing. For us as human beings, we've got to breathe. We can't avoid the air. The air is there. We need it. And so it has to be clean. It has to be safe for us. And the good news is, and you heard the governor describe this, by the time we were at the decision point for potentially bringing the people who had evacuated back into the impacted area, we had on hand air testing that told us that the air really looked pretty much like it did before this event ever happened. So that gave us really great confidence when it came to that aspect. But then there's the second aspect. Even after bringing people back, we made it clear that, hey, the next piece of this is your water source. We want to test that. Now, the good news is the majority of people who live in the East Palestine community are in fact on municipal water, and those municipal sources are deep wells that they were able to intentionally reserve using the most distant ones only for feeding the water supply. But nevertheless, there are quite a number of people who are on private water systems, mostly private wells. We have strongly encouraged all of those people on private wells to get their wells tested, and that will be done at no cost to them. This is something that is part of the remediation, and it's very important for the reasons I just described. Now, if you are one of the people who live in the impacted area and have a private water source, you're not on municipal water, I'd encourage you to call a number. I'll read the number out. You've heard it before. It's 330-849-3919, and indicate, I believe I'm in the affected area and I'd like to have my water source checked. Now, we're strongly recommending those who have not yet had their water source checked to use bottled water. And bottled water is being made available again. Same phone number that you can call if you need access to that. This is going to be particularly important if you are pregnant, if you are breastfeeding, or if you are preparing formula for an infant. So we would encourage you to avail yourself of that water. The bottom line is that from the very start of this, we have taken every step possible to assure that people's safety was first and foremost. And that with the compounds that we're talking about, in consultation with experts at the national level, we have first made sure that we were providing a clean atmosphere, clean air, and now we are actively working to assure that people, for the long run, have clean water. Thank you, Governor.
Exactly, Brew, and that's what I was saying too, man. There's so many freaking wells out there, especially, just think about it. This community directly affected only had 4,700 and I think 61 people. And then a bunch of small little communities around that. I can imagine how many wells exist around there. How many ponds, wells, little creeks. Not to mention all of the other, like you said, the wildlife that gets fed on. Yes, good luck at the wrestling, especially state. But yeah, all these wells. There's so much area that they're not even going to probably test. And it's just, I feel you, Bruin. It's what's got me so upset.
Thank you very much. We're happy to take any questions for anyone who's talked. Yeah.
Hi, Joe Ingles with Ohio Public Radio and Television. My question is, you said that the water is safe, at least the community water that's been tested, but should people maybe think of using water filters like Brita filters, that kind of thing? Is that a good thing to do right now while things are unknown? And should people just go ahead and do bottled water in the meantime?
Yeah, at this stage in the game, we are recommending that people in the community consider using bottled water. We are awaiting results of testing of the municipal water sources that are going to be fairly detailed and will allow us to have a very complete look at the potential compounds that could be involved. And we expect that very soon. You know, from my point of view, using bottled water for a short period of time is pretty easy to do. And once we have data and information, especially if you have a private water source, look, there are things that we will be able to do. It may be drilling a new well, a deep well instead of a shallow well. It may be using some of the remediation tools that were described for municipal sources that include forms of aeration and charcoal filtering, et cetera. So for right now, I think bottled water is the right answer.
Hi, this is Ashley Bornanson with WBNS. I also have a question for you, Doctor. In terms of that radius of those who should be drinking bottled water, how far does that radius go? Could this impact Central Ohioans? And what could that impact be on the current health of those who might have been intaking this water?
Thank you. So we're very confident about, and there are maps in the that are available in the community of what we believe to be the impacted zone for these wells. And if people call that hotline, they'll be able to access that. For people more distant, I'm going to turn to some of my colleagues from the Ohio EPA to describe again that process of testing. If you're in Central Ohio, this is really not relevant to your water source. If you're actually in most of the rest of Ohio, we're really talking about those who have municipal water sources coming off of the Ohio River, and I'm absolutely confident that Orsenco and the local communities, along with Ohio EPA and US EPA, are using every
What kind of
appropriate
smirk
caution
is that?
to assure that there's no public health impact.
We'll do the Ohio River again.
Sure. Yes, it is important. We know that there is a plume moving down the Ohio River. So all of our neighboring states, state departments, and Orsenco are in constant communication about the location of the plume. We think it's on its way around Huntsville or Huntington, West Virginia now. And so all of those water systems are in constant communication on when it may be at their intake, and they're either shutting down and or using the treatment.
So this thing's
available
traveling
that they
too.
have on site. So
Wow.
we think that's the only.
This isn't
southern
just that.
part
It's
of the
oh wow. I need to.
that there might be from the site.
I need to find
For
that.
that second part, could there be any health effects of those who have already intaken that water?
We're seeing very low levels of contaminants, and so all of the treatment being done at those water systems take out any contamination before it finished water. So I can't envision that there would be any risk that has already occurred from the drinking water systems on the Ohio River.
I have questions about water as well. So, I'm Nick Evans with the Ohio Capital Journal. I just want to make sure that I understand what you laid out. Okay, so it goes Sulphur Run, Leslie Run, Beaver Creek, Ohio River, correct?
North Fork.
North Fork, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So you said that sulfur is contaminated, but you think it's contained. Leslie, no vinyl chloride, but ethyl butyl and ethyl hexyl.
Acrylate.
Okay.
Yes.
What's in the plume?
That was the initial slug that we talked about. That were the fire combustion chemicals that we detected that are showing up. We have data that's on our. We showed hundreds of detections on that initial slug that went through into the Ohio River, but they're no longer being seen in the smaller tributaries except for those two chemicals.
Okay, so in the plume though, it's just the ethyl hexyl and the
In the Ohio River?
Yeah.
Honestly, there's probably, it's the fire contaminant combustion material.
Yeah, Brew, and I need to find this source that they can see this on. I wasn't able to catch it. If anybody else was, if you can let me know what the source of that is, and maybe I can go to that. Yeah, that's what I heard from it, is that this thing's traveling. It's a traveling toxic cloud.
Materials. It's not free product per se. If volatile organic compounds, there could be multiple, but not necessarily just the remaining two that we're seeing in the smaller tributaries, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You want to talk about the dilution at that point? In Ohio River, what are you seeing in the Ohio River?
So very, very low levels of volatile organic compounds in the Ohio River itself. Probably it helps that it has been very diluted, and we don't expect any higher concentrations to follow than the initial onset of the plume that we're tracking.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Follow up on the plume. When you mentioned the fire combustion materials, are there concerns about PFAS and similar contamination?
So we have not yet tested for the PFAS compounds. We are working with the local the local EMA to start testing the PFAS compounds, I think, in the drinking water specifically.
Hi, Jeremy Pelzer with Cleveland.com. There have been anecdotal reports in the media of people around East Palestine suffering headaches, other health problems like sore throat, etc. And then in addition, other anecdotal reports about animals dying like chickens. And, have you been able to substantiate any of these? And what do you think, if these are true, are causing these?
Yeah, so it's a very good question. Anecdotes are challenging because they are anecdotes. A couple of things. First of all, for many of the compounds that go on the list of volatile organic compounds, we can smell them at levels that are well below the levels that are considered unsafe. So it is possible that at a very, very low level, you can still smell a volatile organic compound. So I don't discount that. In terms of some of the symptoms of headache, et cetera,
what's up,
unfortunately,
Chris?
volatile organic compounds share with a host of other things the ability to cause very common symptoms at the lower levels. So headache, eye irritation, nose irritation, et cetera. I think that we have to look at the measured facts. And the measured facts include the fact that the air sampling in that area really is not pointing toward an air source for this. And secondly, in terms of water, we're encouraging people to use bottled water, particularly if they're on a private water source. Now, could somebody have a private water source that could be contaminated and we haven't tested it yet? Well, it's a voluntary program and that is possible. I would encourage them to make a switch immediately. Remember, with these compounds, it's not, in most circumstances, just about a single small exposure. It's a mission of concentration over duration. The higher the concentration, the longer the duration, the greater the risk. Everything that we've gathered thus far is really pointing toward very low measurements, if at all. And what I would encourage people who are having those symptoms to do is, number one, contact your medical provider. And number two, call the local hotline to let them know that you're experiencing this so a team can get out and check their environment.
Governor, I don't want to all over my fellow members who beat me here to get over there. Senator Vance was on Fox News critical of the Biden administration, and even some Democrats have been critical of the Biden administration response. Are you satisfied with the Biden administration response? And is there anything you'd like to see more out of the administration as far as health like this?
Look, our Ohio EPA works with the U.S. EPA. These are the principal people involved. The federal government is conducting an investigation to determine why this wreck occurred, this crash occurred. We await that. And certainly we'll be interested in seeing what, look, the president called me and said, anything you need. I have not called him back after that conversation. I will not hesitate to do that if we're seeing a problem or anything, but I'm not seeing it.
Patrick Sagas with the AP. It's probably a question for ODNR. I know you had mentioned that there weren't any maybe like reports of animals dying because of the controlled release. But again, we have been hearing anecdotes from people in the area about pets or other agricultural animals. What can they do? Their animal died because of this, and like what is ODNR doing to measure that?
Yeah, I think that's probably
Director of Agriculture, Brian Baldridge.
Thank you, Governor DeWine, and thank you for that question as far as the livestock community. From the agricultural, from Department of Ag standpoint, we've been in contact with folks in the community as far as the veterinarians. Our state vet, Dr. Summers, has been in contact with folks in that community. And that's what we're telling folks. If you see symptoms of your livestock livestock, reach out to your local vet. But we are in constant contact with them and also our stakeholders, Farm Bureau, OSU Extension, all the folks in that community. And to this date, there's nothing that we've seen in the livestock community that causes any concerns to this date. Thank you.
Karen Kassler, State House News Bureau, Ohio Public Radio and Television. Governor, this is for you. You've said that you fully expect Norfolk Southern to pay all the costs. You said you've gotten a commitment from them that they are going to stay on site till everything's cleaned up. Are you confident that they are going to pay all those costs? And there are reports of people having trouble even cashing these inconvenience checks. What do you tell those folks?
Well, look, Norfolk Southern is responsible for this problem. We fully expect them to live up to what the CEO committed to me, and that is that they will pay for everything. If they don't, we've got an attorney general here, and we'll file a lawsuit. So, look, they're responsible for this. They did it. This is the impact on
5,
this
10,
is huge.
5, 10, 15, 20 years later, then we'll have to file a lawsuit. And it's even more disturbing now. I didn't even know this until this press conference. It's even more disturbing that this thing is a floating toxic cloud that is affecting other states, other communities, other sources of water, food sources that will eventually lead to our bodies in the natural process. On top of having a shortage of a chemical that can purify our water supply.
Not just the physical problem that might be caused, but the inconvenience, the terror, many things. So yes, we've already seen lawsuits filed. I'm sure there'll be more lawsuits filed. But my objective is to do everything we can to get this cleaned up as quickly as we can. And I think by continuing to talk and reveal what we're doing, what the testing is showing, I hope that people will continue to have confidence in what's going on. But I understand people's skepticism, and I understand their anger. And if I lived in the community, I would be angry too. The railroad caused this problem. They're going to be held accountable.
Hi, Anna Hoffman, WCMH TV. I know there's going to be a full investigation into how or why this happened, but are there any early indications pointing to deliberate actions to make this train derailment?
I have no indication of that.
Sir, about these $1,000 convenience checks, as far as you know, does receiving one of those checks absolve the railroad responsibility? What's straight to attest to these checks when people receive those? You know anything about that?
Well, I don't want to play lawyer here, but I don't think that resolves them of any or absolves them. Of any responsibility. They're still responsible for any damage that they have caused.
Thank you, Governor. We're ready for online questions.
All right, we'll go to the online questions.
Hi. Yeah, this is Matthew Cunningham Cook with The Lever. Just wondering who besides Norfolk Southern was consulted on in this decision to do controlled release? Was there independent information collected by either the state of Ohio or the
Thank you.
Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that
This is exactly what I've been trying to ask myself.
Absolve the railroad responsibility?
One second here.
But what's straight to attest to these checks when people receive those? You know anything about that?
Just wondering.
For any damage that they have caused.
Thank you, Governor. We're ready for online questions.
All right, we'll go
This
to
is
the online
exactly what I'm
questions.
trying to ask.
Hi. Hi, yeah, this is Matthew Cunningham Cook with The Lever. Just wondering who besides Norfolk Southern was consulted on in this decision to do controlled release? Was there independent information collected by either the state of Ohio or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
And what were all the options?
Make a decision about the controlled release independent of what was being provided to you by Norfolk Southern.
Thank you.
As I indicated, we consulted. The Ohio National Guard was consulting directly with the Defense Department. The modeling was very important. We wanted to know exactly what the ramifications of the modeling would be, or of the explosion would be. So yes, we reached out to every expert that we could find.
That's it?
Next question comes from Craig Cheatham.
That's it.
Good afternoon. I just want to mostly make sure that I'm understanding what several of the speakers have said. One mentioned that the contamination, the so-called plume, was moving at about a mile an hour. I want to make sure that is correct, and that right now it's believed to be in Huntington. And so what I'm asking is, how big of a threat is that plume perceived to be for the communities that are downstream? And how long do you believe it will be until that plume and what's in it reaches Cincinnati, which is the largest city downstream for quite some time?
What's up, Josie? Thank you for hopping in.
Hi, thank you for
for
your
hopping
question.
in, Pam.
It is on its way to Huntington. I don't have the exact mile markers of where it is right now. Orsenko would be able to tell you exactly where that location is at this time. The farther it travels down the Ohio River, the more it is dissipating, the less concentrated the contaminant plume is. So the farther it heads down the Ohio, the much less risk that it is. And we haven't seen a risk even at the most closest points to East Palestine. So we would not envision anything from this point forward impacting any of the further drinking water supplies. And I will say that the Cincinnati water plant themselves have been extraordinarily helpful in tracking the butyl acrylate chemical itself. It was a brand new chemical that we did not have a methodology for, and Cincinnati is performing that analysis for all of the drinking water systems north of the Ohio River.
Next question comes from Megan Lowe with Verify.
Hi, I also have a question for you, Tiffany. One of our readers asked if the EPA is testing any soil samples following the derailment. Can you speak to that and what the EPA has found so far, if so?
I would like to turn that question over to Kurt Kohler, who's on site.
Yes, that is ongoing. It's twofold. Part of, again, that remediation phase, what's called a geoprobe, which is able to push rods down into the ground, from that down is ongoing. That is going down both sides, center line of the track, both sides, all the way through Pleasant Road and beyond the derailment areas east. Separate soil samples have been collected within other areas of the vinyl chloride as part of the characterization and preparation for waste disposal. And again, Norfolk Southern is also taking advantage of the excavation and planning for, again, what would be foreseeable remediation efforts and ongoing collection. So yes, sampling is being done. I know our Division of Surface Water is already preparing work plans are in place for both potential sediment sampling and long-term surface water sampling along the various waterways. So that is in development, yes.
Kurt, kind of a layman's question, but I assume that they will not leave and will not stop removing dirt until they can go in and get samples of what's remaining, and there's no evidence that it's there. Is that right? I mean, they're going to go back in and make sure that when they think they're done, they'll be back in and sample and make sure that there's nothing showing up.
Yes, sir. That's again, two-phase approach. Attack the grossly impacted and the emergency response phase, get data while you can to build out the long-term remediation plan for both soil, water, other impact media.
Thank you.
The next question is from Mike Fairchild, NBC 24 Toledo.
Thank you, Governor, for taking time out today. You earlier in this press conference referred to it was absurd that this train was not considered high hazardous. And it seems that in 2020, the Department of Transportation.
Yes, Christy B, it's legal, and they don't even have to notify anybody that those chemicals are even on there. They don't even have to let anybody know. Paint's peeling off cars. I'm telling you, this whole press conference was a downplay. And you got, I don't know, it appears to me that Governor Mike DeWine, I don't know much of his politics, but it appears to me like he's just relaying information that he's being told from all these, quote, experts and coats and stuff. And I don't know, I kind of appreciated it when he said, when he felt the same way that we did, when it's like, yes, Christy B, when we're both shocked, when everybody's shocked. And he was like, you know what, that it's just not called for. That needs, he was like, and I found out it's true. Like, he even didn't even think it was true. And you can tell by the look on this guy's face. This dude's concerned. You see the guy in the back. He's got his hands in his pocket. He was grinning a minute ago. Dude was grinning. Absolutely confident. Really, bro? And you almost get this feeling like I said from the beginning, it's this attitude of, we'll deal with the lawsuits if and when they come. 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. After this video's over, though, and these questions are done, I'll go ahead and put the closed captioning up. I'm going to switch to a video from Brian Enton where he interviewed a family from that community. I think that's well fitting for that to show next. We can actually show some real effects instead of what we're being pumped to by these press conferences about a bunch of BS and a bunch of downplays because everybody's getting kickbacks. You know what I'm saying? Hey, there's just no proof. So just, you know, maybe not everybody, but it sure as hell seems like it. There's something going. Why hush hush? If Norfolk Southern really is the one, you know, I just don't understand when there's freaking security footage of this thing sparking in Salem, Ohio, 20 miles away from where the accident took place. If this thing was sparking 20 miles away, maybe if they would have been notified that these chemicals were on that, then maybe local people that watch those or whatever, monitor, could have done something before. And I'm sorry, this is 2023. You got to be telling me that we can't make some kind of container that these things, a truck can hit and nothing explodes. I mean, if this is what can happen when these chemicals have a situation like this, if this is what can happen, why do we not have a transportation source where these things can get hit and nothing happens to them? I just don't understand that. Good night, everybody that's hopping off. I appreciate you hopping in. We'll be going just maybe another half hour or so. And like I said, we're definitely not going to get into everything tonight. there's going to be a couple more weeks until this report comes out, right? There's going to be a couple more weeks where we're going to be having more shows about it that's dedicated just to this topic here. We're going to be talking to people. We're going to be, I'm sure there's going to, we're going to actually get real information. We're not going to get this crap that's fed to us through this press conference. So let me finish this up real quick. I do want to make sure I get to that family's interview with Brian Enton. Oh my gosh. This is what, hold on one second. Josie just sent me a picture of these cars. Let me play this real quick and then I'll pull up these pictures.
Allow the rules to be laxed, I guess, to allow 100 or more tank cars.
Oh my gosh.
Liquid petroleum gas, which could be also even more dangerous. What would you say to, you said that Congress needs to change this.
Oh
Is there
my
something that you
gosh.
can do as a governor to change the way these bomb trains
And then
are
an
transported
atmosphere
through the
picture.
state?
Thank you, Josie.
Thank you.
Yeah, my understanding when we're dealing with a railroad, governor's power is very limited. This is generally a federal government thing that they basically preempt us on the control of the railroads.
There's family that is around that area, and I know our water source comes from the Ohio River Kilt. So even though it's not hitting at my back door, it's hitting across the street. So it's concerning to me too. I was concerned enough where I told people that I work with to start drinking bottled water before any of this. When this first started happening, I'm like, and we did that episode where we started looking into the cleanup and stuff. And then that's when we started learning there was dead fish popping up. Yeah. I was like, hey, you guys start drinking bottled water. Why? What happened? Yeah, this is what's up. Just be careful. This is crazy. We're going to be having more shows. This ain't the last one. So if I didn't get you the links, we'll be getting to them. Trust me. And I would love anybody on the next show hop up on panel with me. If you, oh my gosh, Josie, these are some crazy pictures. Geez, that one's the worst one so far. Yeah, we're definitely going to have another show. And depending on what's going on tomorrow, because, you know, if something's not crazy breaking, I might just talk about this again tomorrow, guys. I'm sorry, but this stuff, you know, we talk about crimes that, you know, are, you know, we do have to focus on those. This is states of people. This is silent. This is stuff that we don't even know could be starting to take place right now. And 15 years down the road, then we're going, fuck. So I don't know. We'll see what I'll put out a notification tomorrow and you'll see by the title what we're doing. But I'd definitely love to have some other people up on panel tonight if you'd feel comfortable and if you'd like to hop on tomorrow night. I'd love to hear your opinions too, seriously. Because we're going to be going into a lot more stuff tomorrow, especially the breakdown of the chemicals. Exactly, Allison. Any of these changes, it changes the structure, it's... Exactly, Christy B. That's what's taking place right now. That's why you got Guy yawning back there. Oh my gosh, look at that picture. Jeez. This is so disturbing. Let me get back to this video here. Thank you, Bruin. Thank you. That's why I've been trying to share that 17-minute highlight video that I made. I've been trying to share that thing like crazy. And if you guys think I should make a highlight out of any part of this episode when it comes to, you know, a 1 to 20 minute, 30-minute clip, whatever, just give me a timestamp and give me a timestamp from here to there what you think I should throw up there. Honestly, this I feel, man, like this shit needs to be out there. These people are not being told the truth. These people are being lied to. And now to find out that this thing's a rolling toxic cloud. To find out, yeah, well, oh, trust me, I got the hashtags in there, Code. This video, the 17-minute minute video short that I made, trust me, I worked my tail off on that because it's true. This shit needs to be out there, and this is bullshit. This is fucking bullshit. And they're playing around like, you know, our lives don't matter, and they're playing around like, you know, we're gonna be gullible as fuck, and we're not. Exactly, Christy B. Take pictures, check your health. I appreciate it, Josie. I feel strong about it too. Like this, I was literally like, I'm sorry if I seemed angry in the beginning of the show. This stuff really, it's just not cool. Yeah, it's in the description. As long as they're in the description, it'll still pop up. So with the title, I don't have any of them in the title for this one, but they're definitely in the description. The cloud is over West Virginia. Yeah, after the show, I'm gonna be busy as hell after the show's done until I gotta go to bed for work, so I won't be able to kind of go over the episode. If you guys can give me a timestamp and send me a message or something, I'll definitely do it. When I get home from work tomorrow, I'll go ahead and throw up a short real quick. This governor and the officials there are at risk there as well. Yeah, you can see the concern on his face. Look at the 5 mile. I'm glad there's a class action. So, wow. I appreciate that, Cout. It seriously, this is a joke. And there's, you know, you want to listen. You want to play around with us with this frickin' balloon. Which I didn't even get into tonight. Right? You want to play around with this fucking balloon with us? You don't play around with this shit with people. You just don't do it. You be up front from the, you know what I mean? You be up front from the get-go. If you fucked it up, you need to pay up. You expect all these people to pay for the crimes that they did. You expect, you know, if BK's guilty, you expect him to pay for his freaking crime, right? Pay for yours, Norfolk Southern. Fucking be honest. Here, we're going to send out somebody from the railroad track to test your home to tell you it's okay. Frickin', I'm just... All right, let me finish this real quick.
Our next question is from Emma Henderson.
Oh my gosh. I need to find out the path of this cloud.
Emma, are you there?
We'll have to have it on tomorrow. Tomorrow, or the next show we talk about it with. It'll probably be tomorrow.
Hi, this is for everybody at the press conference. There's been a lot of people who live in the area
Oh my
who
gosh.
express concern about going back into their homes despite being told that the air is safe and the water is safe. Can you just speak a little
will have on their bodies? Should they be concerned about potential cancer clusters that might arise as a result years down the line? And also, Governor, if you were to live in the area, would you feel comfortable moving back into your home?
Look, I think that I would be drinking the bottled water.
Yeah.
And I would be continuing to find out what the tests were showing us.
I feel he's the only one that's being upfront, and he just doesn't know that much because he's not that kind of an expert on this stuff, and he's just relying on experts to tell him what's going on. Damn straight, I'd be fucking drinking the bottled water too.
As far as the air, I would be alert and concerned, but I think I would probably be back in my house.
No. I'd be like, hey, Jimmy in fucking Oklahoma. What's up, buddy? Yeah. No, I need to go to the store because I need to get a couple pairs of clothes. You out of your mind. I wonder how many people move back. They probably have no choice. The economy's so hard right now. They probably have no choice but to take their chance on their health. It's like these students when the Idaho 4 murders took place. When nobody was even arrested yet, but school was back in session. Shoot, I can't afford to stay home and do this. I have to go back because of employment or whatever in order for me to make it. So I have to put my safety at risk to go back to continue to do it. Just having to put yourself in a situation where it's almost like a lose-lose, and you have to decide which one of the lesser of two evils. That's just so wrong.
I think that was a very good answer. Truly, I think the governor really summarized the important points. Look, we've got very good data as it relates to the air quality. And I think people can feel very confident in that fact, coupled with the fact that...
What about the air quality in West Virginia right now, sir? Maybe almost 2 weeks later, I'm sure the fucking air is okay because it's the fucking air. It's already going to be recycled somewhere else. What about the soil? The wells, the ponds. Absolute confident
that there continues to be air monitoring. So that's
oh, this is so crazy.
Very good.
This is so crazy.
We have no indication that the municipal water supply
this makes me so upset.
Not safe. However, we do have testing that is
this
pending,
makes me so upset.
I think it's a relatively easy thing to do to use bottled water for a short window of time.
A short window of time.
I think people should be confident that multiple agencies, both at the state and the national level, are very serious about this, are watching very closely, and are not allowing any wiggle room when it comes to safety.
Yeah. That was funny, huh, Doctor? Whatever the hell you are. I'm sorry. That grin, I swear. That freaking grin, dude.
Thanks for taking my question today. My question is, will Norfolk Southern, are they going to pay for any autopsies for these animals that are being found?
Good question.
That people are worried about.
Good question.
Of a dog in the East Palestine area that has been
by an independent, not by your own fucking.
Something that people can confidently go to their vet for and turn over a bill, whether the vet determines that the animal, the livestock passed away because of the chemical releases.
And if it does, it needs to be reported so that way we know that a food source is contaminated as well. Right, Bruin? That needs to be reported too. Just like you wanted to report COVID deaths when COVID was out. Guess what? You need to have a fucking list of animals that passed. And that needs to be public record too. This is fucking crazy.
Whether they determine that or not, can they rely on order to handle that?
Let me ask the Director of Agriculture to answer that and to outline what the procedure is. There is a procedure built into our custom and into our law.
Thank you, Governor. As far as the question, as far as the Ohio Department of Agriculture, we have a diagnostic lab, and it is run by our state vet, Dr. Summers. And as far as the policy and what we're telling the folks, as far as the vets in the communities, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Summers, who's a specialist in that area.
What is all the fucking laughing for?
Dr. Dennis Summers, state veterinarian for Ohio. Yes, just in short, to answer your question.
This is not funny.
Animals that die for any reason, livestock, pets, first call should be to your private veterinarian to seek guidance and consultation for that. Our animal disease diagnostic lab is here to serve the livestock industries and companion owners to do necropsies and diagnostic testing for any.
You know what? I want to say, hopefully somebody will have some kind of social media thing, because I don't think these people are going to be honest with us when it comes to these animals, what animals pass from this and such and such. The people will be, because the people will know what the hell's going on. So I hope that somebody will be able to make some kind of social media thing where people that have these animals, that take them to the vet, that find out this is what's going on, because it won't be reported until it's actually proven. Right? So maybe these people can get on some kind of social media and be like, and you can go to this thing where you can see the map of, all of the freaking spots where this one was a chicken and this one was a fox and this one, it's reported from actual people, where it's a big collection of data that people themselves, even people in the area, can actually take that information and put that up here. You know what I'm saying? Not only the people around and outside of the community that are trying to understand and trying to get this out there, but the people that are in those communities that can use that information for whatever they need to do to try and whatever they need to do for their safety in the future or whatever. I hope somebody can make something like that, or if it's possible or what, there's got to be something, some kind of thing where you don't have to rely on this guy or that guy in the back or some lawyer to tell us, yes, this was actually a case that was, but no.
Cause of death. So we need to ensure that we're following the appropriate routing, that those samples that are being that may be found dead for any reason do come in through a veterinarian to our animal disease diagnostic lab, and we would run them like we would any other normal sample.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, Allison.
Our next question is from Dan DeRoos, WOIO in Cleveland.
Good afternoon, Governor. Thanks for taking the time for an update. The one thing that hasn't been discussed today is the giant column of doomsday-looking smoke that went up after the quote-unquote controlled release and burn.
There's so much to get into. We're going to be...
that went up into the atmosphere.
I'm probably going to be talking about it tomorrow night, guys. I'll let you know, though.
There has to be a blanket of whether it's soot or chemical, whether it was the wind sort of shifted that evening, so it kind of went instead of just to the south east, it kind of started to go straight east and then a little to the north. I mean, this has got to be on the ground somewhere. And if we're talking livestock, if we're talking pets, if we're talking kids out playing, there's no concern more than a mile out, 10 miles out, 20 miles out, 30 miles out. What happened to that smoke, and who can give those answers?
Let me see who can, if we've got someone who can answer that. I don't think there's anyone here who's volunteering, so.
Yeah, nobody wants to.
What we're trying to do is
nobody
be
wants
very,
to be
very
held on the
careful,
record.
follow what the science is. I don't know
Listen
what the
to their
science is
words
in regard to that. But we'll try to get you an answer. If we get it today, we'll try to get you an answer later.
And here's the link to the video in
Can
chat.
say for sure is that we were monitoring the air. This was a relatively small area that we had cordoned off and told people that they need to leave. We were monitoring the air in real time when that went up in the area right outside there. And that quality of air remained good the entire time. We later, the next day, went in, of course, to within that area, the red area and the yellow area, and started measuring, and it was good. But at the moment when it went up, we were still getting readings. My understanding is they're still getting readings right outside that it was good. But I cannot answer your question. What happens when that goes up? So we'll see if we can get you an answer.
Governor, this is Kurt. I could add to that. Following the fire in the protected plume, various communities did report odors or haze, and teams from both US EPA and all did respond to those areas throughout the night to verify them. And again, no elevated readings did occur for those constituents. So that did go on throughout any of the areas where citizens were reporting problems outside of East Palestine.
Our next question is from Deanne Johnson, Youngstown Business Journal.
Yes, Governor. Real quick, the soil that is along the tracks, I'm hearing that they're talking about they're excavating it and pulling it out of there. Twofold question, the trains continue to go through. Is that safe to have those trains still going through there if things are a little unstable? And secondly, where is all this soil going? There's talk of things that are sitting in these Palestine Park in large containers. Is that where the soil is being transported?
Let me ask Kurt if he knows.
Come on.
Yes, the soil.
Where's the closed captioning?
Excavated out there's three staging pads on site within the footprint of the spill zone. Underneath those are heavy plastic seal liners with berms. Any water from either leaching out of soil or anticipated rain would be collected on a continuous basis. So that soil is being managed. It will be properly analyzed and shipped.
Well, do me a favor, guys. I'm going to end up playing the video from this family, from the community. I got to go over this PayPal stuff. I'm going to go over the short real quick, and then I'm going to have to end the show. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I just have this feeling like this is going to be another show tomorrow night. And like I said, unless something crazy breaking comes out with all these other cases we follow, I have a feeling that I need to dedicate another 3 hours to this. Okay. So if you guys can do me a favor, if we can get the SDS, if we can get all of this information for tomorrow night, if you guys can send me, Josie, I'm going to put together a slideshow. I mean, these pictures are crazy, everybody. I'm going to put together a slideshow of the pictures Josie sent me. I think there's like 8 or 9 of them. Crazy fucking pictures. I got some other links, EPA stuff. If we can get the SDSs, if we can get what happens when the chemicals go from here to there, whether it's from heat, ignition, mixing with the other chemicals that were in surrounding cars. If we can get all of this information and we can put it all together tomorrow night, and we'll go through everything, that because it's probably going to be another 3 hours tomorrow night of this if we're on this. So yeah, if we can get any of that stuff, if we can get any of that stuff, and you can send it to me wherever you can send it to me, Discord, Gmail, Twitter, or I mean, even whatever way you can send it to me, please. And then that way I'll be able to just pull it up, bam, 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 and we'll have it all right there. um it's just crazy. It's already 2 hours and 40 minutes. I still have about another 15 to 20, and we haven't even scratched what we all need to talk about. So um I just have a feeling, it's unless something breaking comes out tomorrow, I have a feeling this is going to be another night tomorrow night of this, because this stuff, we need to get this stuff out there. And I appreciate you guys' help. And like I said, if you can help me, um, get whatever kind of stuff we can get together, and then I can kind of get I only have a tiny minute, a little bit of prep time before I have to hop on because of work. But if we can get it all together, I got some stuff already from earlier, some stuff throughout the evening. Uh, let's come out with a lot of information tomorrow night, please. And yes, Christy B, please, and everybody, please, just even if you know somebody from there, I mean, hell, we heard where this toxic cloud's going. It's going over West Virginia. So while we finish out the show, if anybody does know where the cloud was going over, if you can explain it in the chat, that way we can let everybody know. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of the stuff, and I'll be back tomorrow night. You know I will, at 7 Central. This is just not cool. We need to get this stuff out there. And thank you so much for all your suggestions and all of your information, your support, and your conversation, because without you, I wouldn't be as smart as I am. So I thank you. It's because of you why I'm able to show everybody what we can show them. And I appreciate that. You make me look good.
For disposal. So that's what's going on in that. As far as train safety, Norfolk Southern has made us aware we have to do all their safety briefings when working in those areas. They have complete control over the tracks. So anytime a train is
Thank you. I appreciate it.
reduce speed, and the work has to stop while the train passes. So they have complete control over that. The wastewater storage, those big blue mobile storage tanks, they do hold 21,000 gallons capacity. We have them at various staging areas. Depending on the work locations, like the one we referenced in the park, is in the event we would have to pump material from the creek into those. Again, they are safe.
Thank you so much.
Don't have any direct
I appreciate you.
material inside, and they also inside secondary containment, so in case something would happen to those containers. So that's how waste is being managed on site, and we work with Norfolk Southern daily on that to monitor. Like, we have people from our hazardous waste unit group working with them directly, again, boots on the ground every day.
Okay, our final question today is from Dylan Carr, the Ashland Source.
Hi, thanks for taking my question here. I cover Ashland, Richland, and Knox counties. They've expressed concern in air and water quality in the aftermath of this. How concerned, if at all, should these people be? And if they should be concerned, even just a little bit, what steps should they take in terms of obtaining testing kits or anything like that?
We'll start with the surface water. As you saw from the maps that we show, the surface water is heading southeast to the Ohio River. So the locations that you mentioned should not receive any contaminated surface water in their area. But I'll let Dr. Vanderhoff talk about the air.
Scary too, Josie.
Yeah, I think that they can feel very confident. Again,
oh my
we have to
gosh.
think about the
Oh
dilutional
shit.
effects that happen, as well as the predominant winds. I would not consider those communities to be at high risk. And And we've been very careful about water.
Oh, shit.
We learn more.
Damn
as
it,
we are doing
StreamYard.
the surrounding private water well testing. But again, their underground water sources are not in the zone that we would expect to be effective.
We've had a request for you to repeat the number. If someone was testing.
Yeah, sure.
Frickin' StreamYard.
I put my notes away, so let me grab it here. It is 330. Let's see here. Oh, here it is. Sorry. 330 849 3919. I'll do that one more time. 330 849 3919.
Anybody else?
If you find positive tests in private wells, will that be made public?
That's good. Yes.
Yes.
I assume so. Yeah.
Anybody else?
That's true. So a part of the challenge is people signing up. This is a voluntary activity. So if you've got a private water system and have not called the number to get on the list to get tested, please do. The turnaround time does not appear to be long, but it is a matter of days. So we'd like people to sign up for that testing in that area as soon as possible.
This is related, but unrelated, I guess. There were reports that you were not necessarily looking at any sort of action regarding the adjutant general and the reporter who was arrested. Is there going to be anything after this?
Well, as you know, this matter is turned over by the local county prosecutor to the attorney general. I remain, have the same opinion I had the first day, and that is that I would hope that charges would be dropped. I think that would be the best thing.
Charges would be dropped. What?
Whatever happened after the general walked away.
What? With the reporter.
The reality is that the reporter should not have been stopped, period. So it shouldn't even started that way. And I understand, people may have different feelings about what happened afterwards, but the initial stop, the initial confrontation, or the initial contact never should have occurred. So taking that into consideration, it seems to me that everyone would be better off if we just, if the attorney general could see fit.
Or even tanker trucks that you're driving next to when you're going to the grocery store.
Not to proceed with any kind of prosecution.
Talk to the adjutant general about the initial confrontation?
Yes. Yes. Look, I think the general, regrets that. I explained to him, how press conferences work, and that frankly that sometimes during a live press conference, someone will be reporting directly. Someone could be right now standing back there reporting if they wanted to. And that's they have the right to deliver the news however they want to deliver the news. So yes, we've had a conversation, and he regrets the whole situation. So. We will continue to keep you apprised. We don't plan at least on doing a press conference every day. What we do plan on doing is every day, at least once a day, release the information, any new information that we have. So you can expect that to come from the governor's office. You can expect that to come as a kind of a day's summary of what is going on. That does not mean there won't be other information that's posted in different forms, but coming out of the governor's office, we're going to try to summarize it once a day, get it to you in time. That. So thank you very much. All right.
Okay. Well, with tonight's show, the main thing I wanted to make sure that I covered was a little bit of intro discussion when it comes to this. Some people didn't know much about it, obviously, because it's not being reported that much. So I kind of wanted to give a little background to it, a little background update to it. And one of the main things I wanted to do tonight is to make sure that I not only showed you, because I definitely, if you haven't seen the beginning of the show, I definitely refer you to go back to the beginning as well, because some of the image, I wanted to set the frickin' tone for this press conference. So, two main goals: set the tone, press conference. I'm going to go ahead and switch to this Brian Netton interview. Now, you know, YouTube's been acting weird the last week or so when it comes to these half and half screens and stuff. This is a Brian Netton interview that just took place about an hour ago with a family from that location. And they're talking about the effects after the train crash. I apologize if the video does not get fixed, but at least we can hear the audio. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, and fingers crossed it'll get fixed here.
Catastrophic train derailment in Ohio. You'll remember he was arrested at a press conference while doing his job. And while I'm glad Evan's story got a lot of attention, a bigger story in many ways has been overlooked and undercovered, and you've told us about it. That is the crash and spill of deadly toxic chemicals that occurred after that.
My gosh.
Many residents are also claiming that they are sick from the chemicals.
Look at this, guys. Look at that. Isn't that ridiculous? Wait till you see the pictures tomorrow that Josie sent me. You're going to see the other side, everybody. Okay? You're going to see the other side of those clouds.
Occurred after that moment. And now many residents are also claiming that they are sick from the chemicals,
the other side,
fumes that they believe were released into the air and into the water.
Not only the other side of the clouds, you'll see the shadow that it creates from the rest of the clouds around it. Just wait. You'll see the paint chipping off the car. This is ridiculous. Thank you, Kelt. I appreciate it. This shit it means so much to me right now.
Chris and Jamie Wallace and their
I could be drinking this shit.
3-year-old daughter, and they join us now, the whole family together now. Thank you so much for being with us. Jamie, let me start with you because I know you guys got sick. First, I wanted to make sure you guys doing
fine. Actually just diagnosed with upper respiratory infections, which ironically, I know a couple people now that have been given that same diagnosis. Just a little suspicious.
I started getting this like a week and a half ago. What the fuck?
As to the timing of it, with the chemicals in the air.
Yeah, your little girl is so cute. She looks like she's feeling pretty good. So that's good to see. Chris, tell me, how soon after the chemicals were released did you guys start to feel sick?
It was about 1:30 that night when we finally got out of there, and then finally when the adrenaline settled down and we were headed to the hotel to stay with her brother and his foster children for the night, that we started realizing our breathing was just labored. It just was hard for us.
Did it feel different? I mean, than just a typical upper respiratory infection? Did you know that something was different about this?
I knew something was different when we left town and there was that chemical smell in your nose, as if you were in the bathroom cleaning with bleach and you walk out and you still smell that bleach in your nose. That was, was the way that that you felt. You smelled that. And even going back today, When we had to get our air inspected, you can just feel it, and the creeks still have a very strong smell near them.
So you guys are now staying in a hotel, from what I understand, I believe in West Virginia. You had to leave that area after getting sick. You mentioned going back today to have the air inspected. How did that go?
Our air inspection came back good, but I actually asked for the road to come down and look at my house. The issue is they are testing for the air, but they're not testing the soil or the water. Our front door is about 5 to 7 steps to Sulphur Run Creek. It has embankments on both
Look
sides
at that.
of it. So,
Jeez.
you know, when
God,
the water swells, when it rains, all that water is going to rise halfway up that hillside, and those chemicals are going to go into the soil. They are cleaning the creek about 50 feet up from my house, but yet you can still see what looks like puddles of vegetable oil on top of the water floating. And when it hits a rock in the creek, it splits and goes around the rock. You know, we had the railroad, actually, the senior toxicologist out today to our house in particular. And he said that they were, you know, the water was safe. And I said, well, we haven't even seen the results of the water test yet. He said they were coming. When I asked about soil, he said the soil had not been tested yet.
I was thinking about this today, though, because they continue to say that the air and the water are safe. But if you just go back through our history, there have been so many other situations where there have been environmental issues where they initially say things are safe and then they're not. Even just think back to 9/11 and all the first responders, stuff like that. I mean, Chris,
it.
you trust the government right now?
Fucking ridiculous.
Absolutely not. I mean, it just seems like everybody let us down. The only people that has had our back and our support
are your neighbors.
Honestly, the Holiday Inn that
right?
we're staying in Old
Your
West
neighbors.
Virginia has been very good to us. The way stations in the area,
right?
Obviously, our firefighters did everything they can, but nobody else is speaking out. Nobody's saying what's wrong, what's going to be happening.
That's it.
That everybody has rashes. Everybody's coming up with respiratory infections. It's just it's downright criminal.
Yeah, and it's just scary. I'm so glad to see that you guys at least look healthy now that you've got to the hotel. But I know, I mean, you still had to leave your home. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's going to be this big meeting tomorrow at the gymnasium there at the high school that we're going to cover very, very closely, where people are going to finally have a chance to talk about the feelings that they've had, the illnesses that they've had. This story is not going away. And let's just hope that the federal government gets in there. Chris and Jamie Wallace, thank you both so much for coming on tonight. I just wish you guys
one more thing real quick.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
We've been working close with River Valley Organization right now, and we have scientists coming in from the University of Pittsburgh in Kentucky, and we're having a meeting at a close by location to Palestine on the 23rd at 6 p.m. We're still working on upholding the venue, so anybody can get there. We're going to have our own private water sampling and our own private.
Do me a favor, if anybody finds out information on where this is located, that whole thing with what he's discussing, I'll put the link to this video in chat. If anybody has any information on whenever they find a venue and where it's located, I want to put that information up as well. So if anybody does come across that, please let me know.
Private soil test to help on upholding the venue. So anybody can get there. We're going to have our own private water sampling and our own private soil testing to help out everybody.
Okay.
Hey, thank you.
My gosh. Yeah, there's the link to that. I'm going to switch. I wanted to, you guys know Kevin Kraft. He does vendor work. He works alongside of some people. It's a small because he's from Ohio. Okay, Kevin Kraft is from Ohio. He's pretty close to that area, to be honest with you. Only an hour and a half, 2 hours away from where that took place. He's got a lot of friends and people that he works alongside that are directly affected by this, that live in East Palestine. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and put this link up. If you'd like to share, you're more than welcome. And they went from, I think it was, I don't want to misspeak about what was already up there before. I believe it was 15 when we started. It's up to 90 now. I'm going to put the link to that in the chat. And you can go ahead and check out the PayPal if you'd like. I'm not asking, I'm just sharing. Sheena actually subscribed and joined the show earlier when we first started. If you want to go back and check the live replay of the chat at the beginning of the show, she had some very interesting information too. I'm sure she's going to be sharing some stuff as well, because she's also repeating the same things that are being said about a lot of the stuff that's around here. She's actually from East Palestine. So if we can do that, that'd be totally cool. Again, please share that short video. If you know of a part of this video that you think I should make a short of, please give me the timestamp and I can try and throw something together real quick. We just need to get this out there. I'm not done talking about it. We're not done talking about it. It may be 2 weeks until they're going to come out with a report of some sort. But you know that just like that guy in the video that we watched, it's the neighbors that are there for you, and it's the neighbors that are going to be able to let everybody else know really what's going on, so they can make informed decisions about their health and safety, because there's nothing scarier than you having to try and decide something based off your health and safety, and you don't even know what you're deciding off of. Very scary situation. They didn't ask for this. This is something that happened to them. This is something that needs to be fixed. If somebody did something, they need to fix it. And nobody's fixing it. Greetings. Thank you for hopping in. Yes. It created mustard gas, which was a chemical weapon. So I encourage you, Severus, if you'd like to check out this video again, and also check out this little short that I made, please. The vinyl chloride cleanup, that little short video, made that a couple days ago, and we went through, I set the tone for this press conference. It'll be very interesting for you. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight. I appreciate you. I know it was a long evening. There's a lot of stuff. We didn't even crack the surface. We got so much more to go over. More than likely, it'll be another show tomorrow night of the same topic, so I encourage you to hop in as well. If you have any information you can send, any of the other things that we can look up that we discussed tonight, please do. And let's just get all this information out there as best as we can, as factual as we can, because everybody needs to know the truth about the situation. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.